Welcome back. Tonight, we drift through the sleepy streets of Istanbul. So wherever you are, however your day has been, you have nothing to do now but rest. There are no twists tonight, nothing to follow, nothing you need to remember in the morning. A city of domes and minarets, falling silent beneath a sky of bruised gold. We'll drift slowly, in no hurry to be anywhere at all. If these journeys help you rest, you're welcome to follow along, but only if you'd like to. And if you're listening now, leave the name of your city and the time where you are. Wherever you're listening from, you're in good company tonight. So let yourself settle. Let your shoulders soften and let your eyes close whenever they're ready. Breathe in slowly. And let it go. There's no need to stay awake for any of this. Just let the streets of Istanbul come to you. The city's story begins with a gift from the land itself. A deep estuary cuts into the European shore. It curves gently, like a horn, and glows gold in the morning sun. This is the Golden Horn. It created a perfect natural harbor, a safe place for ships to anchor. The water was deep and calm, sheltered from harsh winds and open seas. It was also easy to defend. This unique geography is what caught an emperor's eye. Constantine the Great saw a place that could be protected. He chose this spot to build his new capital, a new Rome. The deep, protected water was the foundation for everything that followed. It was a promise of safety and prosperity. You can still feel that ancient sense of shelter even now. The water is the quiet heart of the old city. The water provided one layer of safety. The land would need another. For over 1,000 years, the city was defined by its walls. The Theodosian walls were not just a single barrier. They were a complex system, a triple line of defense. This incredible feat of engineering is why Constantinople could endure so many sieges. Armies arrived at its gates, and were turned away time and again. The walls held strong against every conventional attack. They were a symbol of the city's endurance. Their strength only failed when a new technology arrived. Gunpowder and massive cannons made the old design obsolete. The walls were finally breached, and a new era began. Today they stand as a quiet reminder of a time when stone and skill could hold an empire together. They are a testament to a forgotten art of defense. A city on two continents was once two separate worlds. The decision to build the first Bosphorus Bridge was a monumental gamble. It was about more than just easing traffic. It was a choice to permanently fuse the city's European and Asian sides. Before 1973, the ferry was the only way across. The bridge changed everything. it triggered a wave of urban sprawl that was irreversible. The green hills of the Anatolian suburbs began to fill with houses and apartments. The city grew outward, faster than anyone had planned. This single piece of infrastructure redefined the city's boundaries. It created the sprawling, interconnected metropolis we see today. The bridge was not just a crossing. It was a commitment to a new, larger identity for Istanbul, a city that would no longer be divided by the water, but defined by its connection over it. Sometimes a city is reborn from ashes. Much of the elegant architecture of the Beyoğlu district exists because of a disaster. In 1870, the Great Fire of Pera swept through the area. It destroyed thousands of wooden buildings, the traditional style of the old city. In the aftermath, a decision was made. The neighborhood would be rebuilt, but not as it was. New fire regulations required stone construction. This forced a change in style. The new buildings followed European trends, with stone facades and ornate details. This tragic event is the reason Beyoğlu looks the way it does today. It feels like a piece of Paris or Vienna dropped into Istanbul. The fire erased one version of the neighborhood, but it also created the elegant, stone-faced district that has become a symbol of the city's cosmopolitan past. It was a painful but transformative moment. In 1492, a door closed in Spain, and a new one opened here. The Ottoman Sultan extended an invitation to Sephardic Jews, who were expelled from their homes. They were welcomed into the empire. They brought with them new skills and new ideas. One of their most important contributions was the modern printing press. This technology transformed the spread of knowledge in the city. These new arrivals settled in neighborhoods like Balat. They enriched the city's cultural and commercial life for centuries to come. Their presence helped build the diverse, multicultural fabric that defined Ottoman Istanbul. The decision to welcome them was not just an act of tolerance. It was a strategic choice that paid dividends for the city's intellectual and economic growth. It shaped the character of entire districts, leaving a legacy that is still felt in the quiet streets and synagogues of their historic neighborhoods. A city can change its purpose overnight. For centuries, Istanbul was the heart of a vast empire. It was the political center of gravity, the place where all power resided. Then, in 1923, Ataturk declared Ankara the new capital of the Turkish Republic. This single decision had a profound effect on Istanbul. The city's political importance vanished almost instantly. This shift, however, may have been a blessing in disguise. It slowed the pace of modernization. The pressure to build new government ministries and wide boulevards was gone. Instead, Istanbul was allowed to settle into a new role. It became a cultural and economic hub. Its historical character was preserved, not out of a plan, but through a kind of gentle neglect. The city was no longer an imperial capital. It was something else, something quieter, and perhaps more itself. It became a city of memory and commerce. The heart of the old Byzantine city was a place of spectacle. The hippodrome was where chariot races were held. It was the center of public life, a stage for triumphs and riots. After the Fourth Crusade, it was never rebuilt. The magnificent structure was left to decay, but its ghost remains. The elongated, U-shaped form of the racetrack was simply paved over. This created the public space we now know as Sultanahmet Square. The ancient shape is still there, hiding in plain sight. It dictates the layout of the modern square. The monuments that once decorated the central barrier now stand in a line in a public park. The square you walk across today is a memory of a racetrack. Its form is a quiet echo of the thundering chariots and roaring crowds that once filled this space. The city built on top of its own history. The skyline of Istanbul is not an accident. It is the direct result of one man's vision. His name was Mimar Sinan. He was appointed chief architect by Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. Over a long and prolific career, Sinan designed more than 300 structures. He built mosques, bridges, schools, and aqueducts. His genius was in creating a harmonious silhouette for the city. He perfected the use of the dome and the minaret. His work created a visual language that became the signature of Ottoman Istanbul. His mosques do not compete with each other. They complement one another, creating a sense of balance and order across the city's 7 hills. When you look at the skyline today, you are seeing the legacy of his plan. You are seeing a city shaped by the hand of a single, brilliant artist who understood scale, harmony, and light. Starting in the 1950s, a great migration began to reshape the city. People from all over Anatolia moved to Istanbul in search of work. The city was not prepared for this massive influx. There was not enough housing. So people built their own. These self-built homes, often constructed overnight to avoid demolition, were called gecekondu, meaning built at night. They created sprawling new neighborhoods on the city's periphery. What began as informal settlements slowly grew into permanent, vibrant districts. They were built without official plans, but with a strong sense of community. These neighborhoods are a testament to the resilience and resourcefulness of the people who built them. They represent a huge, unplanned chapter in the city's growth. They are a physical map of the hopes and dreams that drew millions of people to the metropolis, forever changing its scale and character. The Orient Express was more than a train. It was a legend, a symbol of luxury and intrigue. And every legend needs a grand stage. The decision to build Sakechi Station on the historic peninsula was a crucial one. It cemented Istanbul's role as the romanticized bridge between Europe and the East. This was not just a functional train station. It was a destination. It was the physical link in a chain of global travel that captured the world's imagination. Arriving here meant you had reached the edge of one continent and the beginning of another. The station itself, with its blend of European and Oriental styles, was designed to impress. It was the final dramatic stop on a journey into a different world. The station's location made it clear. This was where Europe ended, and the mysterious East began, right here on the platform. A line of giant stone arches marches across a modern boulevard. This is the Valens Aqueduct. It is a Roman solution to a critical problem that has always faced the city: a lack of fresh water. Istanbul has few natural springs. To grow, the city needed to bring water from far away. This massive engineering project was the answer. It carried water for miles from the Belgrade forest into the heart of the city. This allowed the population to swell far beyond what its natural resources could support. The aqueduct fed a network of underground cisterns, ensuring the city could survive long droughts and sieges. It is a powerful symbol of Roman ingenuity. It is also a reminder that for a city to thrive, it must solve the most basic of problems. In Istanbul, the problem was water, and the solution was monumental. The Golden Horn was once dying. By the 1980s, the beautiful estuary that gave birth to the city was nearly lost. Decades of industrial waste had turned its waters into a toxic sewer. The water was black and lifeless. The smell was unbearable. It was an environmental disaster. Then, a conscious choice was made to reverse the damage. A massive, decades-long cleanup operation began. Factories were moved. The thick layer of toxic sludge at the bottom was dredged out. It was a slow, expensive, and difficult process. But it worked. Today, the Golden Horn is a living waterway again. Parks line its shores. People fish from its bridges. The water is clear enough to reflect the sky. This transformation is a powerful story of recovery. It is the reason we can still enjoy the beauty that first drew settlers here thousands of years ago. It was a choice to heal the city's heart. After the conquest of 1453, the city faced a new question. What would become of its large Christian population? The Fener Greek Orthodox Patriarchate remains in Istanbul today, because of a strategic decision by Mehmed the Conqueror. To ensure stability in his new capital, he needed the cooperation of all its communities. He made the Patriarch the head of the Orthodox community within his entire empire. This gave the patriarch both religious and civil authority over his people. It was a pragmatic choice that preserved the city's multicultural core. It ensured that the Greek community would not flee the city. Instead, they became an integral part of the new Ottoman capital. This decision is why the spiritual center of Orthodox Christianity still resides in a majority Muslim city. It was a moment of statecraft that shaped the city's character for the next 500 years, creating a unique and complex identity. The earthquake of 1999 was a tragic wake-up call. In the middle of the night, the ground shook violently. The widespread destruction was horrifying. It exposed a dark secret that many had suspected for years. Decades of unregulated construction and lax enforcement had left the city vulnerable. Buildings collapsed that should have stood firm. The disaster forced the city to confront this reality. It led to the implementation and enforcement of much stricter building codes. This has triggered the ongoing process of urban transformation we see today. Old, unsafe buildings are being torn down and replaced with modern, earthquake-resistant structures. This process is changing the face of many neighborhoods. It is a long and difficult journey, born from a night of immense tragedy. The goal is to ensure that when the ground shakes again, the city will be ready. The memory of 1999 is a powerful motivator. The tulip is a lasting symbol of Istanbul. Its association with the city began long before the flower reached Holland. In the early 18th century, the Ottoman Empire entered a short-lived period of peace and prosperity. This was the tulip era. The flower, which originated in the region, became an object of intense fascination. New and rare varieties were cultivated. They were celebrated in poetry and art. Tulip festivals were held in magnificent gardens by moonlight. This aesthetic obsession was a hallmark of the era. It represented a turn towards refinement and beauty. Though the period itself was brief, its legacy endured. The tulip became intertwined with the city's identity. The annual Tulip Festival today is a modern echo of that historical fascination. It is a reminder of a time when a simple flower could captivate an entire empire and become its most beautiful symbol. The Janissaries were once the Sultan's elite guard. They were the most powerful military force in the Ottoman Empire. But over time, their power grew too great. They became a threat to the very throne they were meant to protect. They interfered in politics and resisted modernization. In 1826, Sultan Mahmud II made a brutal but necessary decision. He ordered the army to turn its cannons on the Janissary barracks. The corps was violently abolished in what became known as the Auspicious Incident. It was a bloody and decisive moment in Ottoman history. This ruthless act broke the political power of the Janissaries for good. It cleared the way for the Sultan to create a modern, European-style army. It was a painful surgery, but one that was essential for the empire's attempt to reform and survive in a changing world. The old guard was swept away by force. The cosmopolitan character of Istiklal Avenue was born from a simple fact of geography. In the Ottoman era, foreign embassies were not welcome inside the old city walls. So, European powers established their missions here, in the district then known as Pera. This concentration of embassies created a unique environment. It attracted European merchants, artists, and financiers. They built grand 19th-century structures that lined the street. Consulates, banks, hotels, and fashionable shops sprang up. The avenue became a slice of Europe in the heart of the Ottoman capital. It had a different feel, a different architecture, and even a different language spoken on its streets. This history is why Istiklal Avenue still feels so distinct. Its grand buildings are a direct legacy of its past as the city's diplomatic and international quarter. It was the place where Istanbul looked towards Europe. At the turn of the 20th century, a grand project was underway. The Baghdad Railway was intended to connect Berlin to the Persian Gulf. It was a massive geopolitical undertaking, backed by German interests. This ambitious railway needed an equally ambitious western terminus. The decision was made to build Haydarpaşa station on the Asian shore of the Bosphorus. The station was designed to be a monumental gateway to the east. Its grand German-designed building was a projection of Ottoman power and modernity. It stood proudly on the water's edge, a symbol of the empire's connection to Europe and its ambitions in Asia. The station became more than just a place to catch a train. It was the starting point for countless journeys into the heart of Anatolia and beyond. It was a physical manifestation of a new era of travel and political maneuvering, built of stone and steel. The Fourth Crusade in 1204 was a catastrophic turning point for the city. An army of fellow Christians, originally bound for the Holy Land, turned their sights on Constantinople. The brutal sack of the world's richest city was an act of unimaginable betrayal. The Byzantine Empire was crippled. Its treasures were looted and carried off to Venice. Its libraries were burned. Its population was scattered. This event caused a massive brain drain and shifted economic power to the Italian city-states of Venice and Genoa. The city never fully recovered from this blow. Even after the Byzantines recaptured it decades later, it was a shadow of its former self. The sack of 1204 was a wound from which the empire slowly bled for the next 2 centuries. It weakened the city so profoundly that it ultimately made the final conquest in 1453 almost inevitable. It was a self-inflicted wound on Christendom. The heart of modern Istanbul gets its name from a piece of forgotten infrastructure. On a high hill overlooking the Bosphorus, there once stood a stone reservoir. This building was the central point for the city's water distribution system. In Ottoman Turkish, a water distribution hub like this was called a taksim. Water was piped here and then channeled to different neighborhoods. In the early days of the Turkish Republic, the area was cleared to create a large, modern public space. The old reservoir was gone, but the name remained. This is why the bustling center of the new city is called Taksim Square. The name is a faint echo of the square's original function. It is a reminder that beneath the surface of the modern city, there are layers of older systems and older names. The square is named not for a person or an event, but for a humble, practical building. The plague visited Istanbul many times throughout its history. These recurring waves of disease did more than just reduce the population. They changed the city's relationship with death and burial. In the crowded confines of the old walled city, cemeteries were a source of contagion. A new approach was needed. Large green cemeteries were established outside the city walls. These spaces were not grim or frightening. They were planted with tall cypress trees and became peaceful public parks. People would stroll through them, have picnics, and enjoy the quiet. This tradition created a unique feature of Istanbul's landscape. The cemeteries are not hidden away. They are integrated into the fabric of the city. They are places of memory and tranquility, a green and peaceful legacy of the city's long and difficult struggle with a deadly disease. They are gardens of remembrance. The conquest of 1453 left a city that was victorious but empty. Its population had dwindled to a fraction of its former glory. To be a true capital, it needed people. Mehmed the Conqueror began a massive repopulation effort. He understood that a city is more than its buildings. He offered tax breaks and free property to anyone who would move to his new capital. People came from all corners of the expanding empire. Turks, Greeks, Armenians and Jews were either invited or forcibly relocated to Istanbul. This policy was not about creating a homogeneous city. It was about building a vibrant, multicultural, and economically productive capital. The goal was to rebuild the city as a cosmopolitan center of trade and culture. This deliberate act of social engineering is what laid the foundation for the diverse character of Ottoman Istanbul. It was a city built by invitation. For centuries, the heart of the Ottoman Empire was the cloistered Topkapi Palace. The decision to build Dolmabahce Palace on the Bosphorus shore was a deliberate pivot. It was a statement. The new palace was not hidden behind walls. It was open to the water, with a grand European-style facade. This was an attempt to project a modern, Western image of the Ottoman monarchy. The Sultan was no longer a secluded figure. He was a European-style sovereign. But this projection of power came at a staggering cost. The palace was filled with crystal, gold and silk. Its construction and furnishing was so extravagant that they contributed significantly to the empire's eventual bankruptcy. Dolmabahce Palace is a beautiful symbol of a fatal contradiction. It was an attempt to appear modern and strong, but its very creation weakened the foundations of the state it was meant to represent. The city has had many names. It was Byzantium, then Constantinople, the new Rome. But its most common name today, Istanbul, likely evolved from a simple misunderstanding. For centuries, the city was so important that it was often just called the city. In Greek, to say you were going to the city was to say Eistin Polin. Over time, as people spoke the phrase again and again, the words began to slur together. Eistin Polin started to sound like a single word. When Turkish speakers heard this phrase, they adapted it to their own language. It became Istanbul. The name is not a formal declaration. It is a piece of spoken history, worn smooth by centuries of use. It is a reminder that sometimes the most enduring names are the ones that grow organically from the way people live and speak, a nickname that became official. During the Crimean War, the Selimiye Barracks in Üsküdar became a massive hospital for wounded British soldiers. The conditions were horrific. More men were dying from disease than from battle. It was into this chaos that Florence Nightingale arrived. Her work here would revolutionize the field of nursing. She insisted on basic sanitation, clean linens and fresh air. She and her team of nurses brought order and compassion to the wards. Her insistence on collecting data and tracking mortality rates was groundbreaking. She proved that sanitary conditions saved lives. This new standard of care, born from the desperate needs of a military hospital in Istanbul, spread worldwide. The image of her walking the halls at night, the Lady with the Lamp, became an icon of a new kind of medical professionalism. A global change began here, in the quiet corridors of a barracks-turned-hospital. Beneath the bustling streets of Istanbul lies a hidden world of water. The Basilica Cistern is the most famous of these subterranean chambers. But it is just one of hundreds of ancient reservoirs. This vast underground system was a critical piece of the city's infrastructure. It was built to sustain the capital through long, dry summers and even longer sieges. When enemies cut the aqueducts, the city could survive on the water stored in these magnificent underground halls. They were feats of engineering, a forest of columns supporting the city above. Most people walk over them every day without a second thought. But just below their feet is a silent, dark world that holds the secret to the city's survival. It is a reminder that the most important parts of a city are not always the ones you can see. The foundations are often hidden. Deep in the back corner of the basilica cistern, there is a strange and beautiful mystery. Two massive column bases are not plain stone blocks. They are carved into the head of Medusa, the Gorgon from Greek mythology. Their placement is peculiar. One head is placed on its side. The other is completely upside down. These were clearly not carved for this purpose. They are recycled artifacts from an older Roman building. But why were they placed this way? Some say it was to neutralize the power of Medusa's gaze. Others believe it was a simple, practical matter of getting them to fit. No one knows for sure. The original purpose, and the reason for their casual, almost disrespectful reuse, remain a secret. They are a quiet puzzle in the dark, a reminder of the layers of history and belief that lie just beneath the surface. When you stand inside Hagia Sophia, the massive dome seems to float weightlessly above you. It appears to hover in the air, a miracle of light and space. This incredible illusion is the result of a brilliant architectural choice. The engineers who built it placed a ring of 40 arched windows at the dome's base. These windows are almost hidden from below. They allow a circle of light to flood into the interior, right where the dome meets the supporting structure. This light obscures the connection between the dome and the building. It dematerializes the massive weight of the structure, making it feel ethereal. It was an engineering feat that was centuries ahead of its time. The goal was not just to build a large dome. It was to create a vision of heaven on earth, a space where the divine could feel present, carried on beams of light. The Galata Tower stands like a stone sentinel, watching over the northern side of the Golden Horn. It feels like an essential part of the Ottoman skyline. But it was not built by the Ottomans. It was constructed by Genoese colonists in the 14th century. They called it the Tower of Christ. It was the central fortification of their independent trading colony. Over the centuries, this thick-walled stone tower has served many purposes. It has been a defensive fortification and a prison for condemned men. It was used as an astronomical observatory for a time. For many years, it served as the city's primary fire lookout tower. Watchmen would scan the city's rooftops day and night for the first sign of smoke. Its history is a reflection of the city's own layered past. It is a foreign structure that has become a beloved and iconic part of Istanbul. The hill leading from the waterfront at Karakoy up to the heights of Beyoğlu is steep. For centuries it was a difficult climb. But since 1875, there has been a simple and elegant solution. The tunnel is the world's second oldest subterranean railway, after London's Underground. It is a marvel of simplicity. It is a two-station funicular, a short straight line that does one thing perfectly. It shuttles passengers up and down the steep hill. For nearly 150 years, it has been quietly doing its job. It is not a grand metro system. It is a small, practical piece of infrastructure that solves a specific problem. Riding it feels like a journey into the past. The tiled stations and the gentle rumble of the cars are a quiet counterpoint to the bustling city outside. It is a piece of living history, still serving its original purpose. In the spring of 1452, a massive construction project began on the European shore of the Bosphorus. Sultan Mehmed II ordered the building of a new fortress at the strait's narrowest point. This was Rumeli Hisari. Its purpose was clear and deadly. It was built to cut off Constantinople from any potential aid from the Black Sea. The fortress was constructed with incredible speed. It was completed in just 4 months. This was a critical prelude to the final siege of the city. The fortress, with its 3 massive towers, allowed the Ottomans to control all shipping on the Bosphorus. It effectively sealed the city's fate before the main attack even began. Today, the fortress is a beautiful museum, but its graceful walls and towers are a reminder of its ruthless and strategic purpose. It was a weapon built of stone, a key that locked the door on the Byzantine Empire. The Grand Bazaar is more than just a market. It is a city within the city. It is a labyrinth of 61 covered streets and more than 4,000 shops. It has its own banks, its own police station, and its own mosques. This sprawling complex grew from a small warehouse, built in the 15th century. It expanded over the years, becoming the commercial heart of the Ottoman Empire. One of its most interesting features is its security system. At the end of each day, a tradition dating back centuries is observed. The bazaar's 22 gates are locked and barred. The bustling, chaotic marketplace falls silent. The shopkeepers go home, but the bazaar is sealed, protecting the immense wealth within its walls. It becomes a quiet, self-contained world, resting until the morning when the gates open and the river of commerce begins to flow once more. The Pera Palace Hotel was built for a specific clientele. It was designed to accommodate the wealthy travelers arriving on the Orient Express. As such, it had to offer the latest in modern luxury. One of its most famous features was its elevator. This was one of the first electric elevators in Europe to be installed in a hotel, a privilege usually reserved for palaces. The elevator was more than a convenience. It was a statement of sophistication. It is an ornate creation of cast iron and polished wood, with a small velvet bench inside. It feels like a small, moving room. The remarkable thing is that this beautiful piece of 19th century technology is still in operation. It has been quietly carrying guests between floors for over 130 years. It is a tangible link to the golden age of travel, a slow, elegant ride into the past. Sometimes, building the future means digging up the past. During the construction of the Marmaray rail line, a project designed to connect the city's two continents by a tunnel under the Bosphorus, workers made an incredible discovery. As they excavated for the Yenikapıköy station, they uncovered the lost harbour of Theodosius. This was the main port of Constantinople in the Byzantine era. The mud of the harbour had created a perfect, oxygen-free environment. It had preserved a fleet of 37 Byzantine ships from the 5th to the 10th centuries. It was an archaeological treasure trove. The discovery created one of the largest and most important nautical archaeology sites in the world. The construction of a modern transit hub had accidentally revealed a forgotten one. It was a stunning reminder of how many layers of history lie just beneath the surface of the modern city. The Chora Church contains some of the most beautiful Byzantine mosaics in the world. They are vibrant, detailed, and full of life. It is a miracle that they survived. After the Ottoman conquest, the church was converted into a mosque. According to Islamic tradition, the figurative mosaics could not be displayed in a house of worship. But instead of destroying them, the Ottomans made a different choice. They simply covered the magnificent artworks with a thin layer of plaster. This act of concealment was also an act of preservation. The mosaics were hidden from view, but they were safe. They were protected from weather, wear, and vandalism for centuries. In the 20th century, restorers began the delicate work of removing the plaster. They revealed the stunning, perfectly preserved masterpieces that had been sleeping beneath. The mosaics were not lost, just waiting to be rediscovered. In the center of Sultanahmet Square, there is a beautiful, octagonal fountain. It looks perfectly at home among the ancient monuments. But it is a relatively recent addition, and it came from far away. The German fountain was a gift from the German Kaiser Wilhelm II to the Sultan. It commemorates the Kaiser's visit to Istanbul. The fountain has a unique story. It was completely manufactured and assembled in Germany. Every piece of stone, every gilded mosaic, every copper panel was crafted there. Then, it was disassembled, packed into crates, and shipped to Istanbul. It was then painstakingly rebuilt, piece by piece, in its current location in 1901. It is a symbol of a political alliance from a bygone era. It is also a remarkable feat of logistical planning, a piece of German craftsmanship dropped into the heart of the old Ottoman capital. The Süleymaniye Mosque is not just a visual masterpiece. It is also an acoustic one. Its architect, the great Mimar Sinan, was a genius of engineering as well as design. He wanted to ensure that the prayers of the Imam could be heard clearly throughout the vast interior space, without any echo. His solution was brilliant. Legend says that he incorporated up to 256 empty clay jars into the structure of the massive central dome. These jars, hidden from view, act as resonators. They absorb and diffuse the sound, preventing it from bouncing off the hard surfaces. The result is a space with perfect, echo-free acoustics. It is a testament to Sinan's deep understanding of science and art. He did not just build a beautiful space. He built a space that worked perfectly for its intended purpose. The sound inside is as carefully designed as the silhouette outside. The iconic Hagia station does not sit on natural land. It stands on an artificial peninsula, a piece of land created by human hands. The grand station was built on a foundation of over 1,100 wooden piles. These were driven deep into the seabed of the Bosphorus. This created a stable platform for the massive stone building. The station's grand facade looks out over the water. For over a century, it was a monumental welcome for those arriving in the city by train from Anatolia and the Middle East. It was the first glimpse of Istanbul for millions of people. Its location on the water's edge made it a powerful symbol. It was the place where the land journey ended, and the sea journey to the European side began. It is a castle-like structure, built on a man-made shore, a testament to the ambition of its builders. In the middle of the Bosphorus, on a tiny islet, sits the Maiden's Tower. This small, picturesque structure is one of the city's most romantic icons. Its history, however, is more practical than romantic. Over the centuries, it has served many purposes. It has been a lighthouse, guiding ships through the busy strait. It has been a customs post, collecting taxes from passing vessels. It was used as a quarantine station during cholera epidemics. It has also been a defensive tower. The structure we see today is a modern reconstruction. The original tower has been rebuilt many times after fires and earthquakes. But its silhouette has remained a constant and beloved feature of the Bosphorus. It is a small building with a long and varied history, a lonely and beautiful outpost in the middle of the water, surrounded by legends and stories. Along the shores of the Bosphorus, there are magnificent wooden mansions known as yerli. These were the summer homes of wealthy Ottoman families. Many of them are painted a distinctive shade of reddish-brown. This color is often called oxblood. This was not just a random aesthetic choice. There was a rule behind it. Historically, this specific color was reserved for buildings owned by the state or by prominent officials. A private citizen could not paint their house this color. It was a subtle but clear sign of status and connection to the Ottoman government. Today the rule is gone, but the tradition continues. The color has become part of the classic look of the Bosphorus. It is a quiet echo of the old social hierarchy, a color code that tells a story of power and privilege, now just a beautiful part of the scenery. The Spice Bazaar has a distinctive L shape. This design is not arbitrary. It is the result of a careful integration of commerce and religion. The bazaar was part of a larger complex that included the new mosque, or Yeni Cami. The bazaar was built to provide revenue for the upkeep of the mosque and its charitable institutions. The L-shaped building was designed to wrap around the existing mosque and the tomb of its benefactor, Hatis Turhan Sultan. The commercial structure was carefully fitted into the sacred space. This is a common feature in Ottoman architecture. The market and the mosque were not seen as separate worlds. They were part of a single, integrated community. The bazaar's shape is a physical reminder of this connection. It shows how the profits from the spice trade were used to support the spiritual and social life of the city. The central barrier of the ancient hippodrome, the Cariospina, was once decorated with magnificent monuments. They were brought from all corners of the empire to adorn the racetrack. Most of these treasures are long gone, lost to time and looting. But 3 of them remain. They still stand in a line in what is now Sultanahmet Square, a strange and wonderful collection of ancient art. The oldest is the Egyptian obelisk, brought from Karnak. Then there is the bronze serpent column, which came from the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. Finally, there is a rough-hewn masonry column, which was once covered in bronze plaques. These 3 survivors, from 3 different civilizations and 3 different eras, stand together in the open air. They are quiet witnesses to the city's long and layered history, a small, open-air museum in the heart of the old city. The Dolmabahce Palace is a place of overwhelming opulence, but it contains a surprising secret. The walls of the palace contain no solid gold. The immense feeling of wealth comes from a different source. It comes from the ceilings. Over 14 tons of gold were used to gild the ornate plasterwork of the palace's ceilings. The gold was beaten into incredibly thin leaves, and then applied to the intricate Rococo patterns. This was a display of wealth intended to awe and impress European visitors. It was a way of competing with the grand palaces of Europe. The effect is dazzling. In every room, the ceilings shimmer with a warm golden light. It is a reminder that in the world of imperial display, appearance is everything. The gold is not structural. It is a surface, a beautiful and expensive illusion of limitless wealth, painted on plaster. On the sides of older buildings in districts like Karakoy and Balat, you can still see faint whispers of the past. These are ghost signs. They are faded, hand-painted advertisements for businesses that are long gone. You might see the name of a French tailor, a Greek pharmacy, or an Armenian hardware store. The paint has been weathered by sun and rain for decades. The signs are barely legible now. They are faint memories preserved on brick and stone. Each one is a small piece of the city's commercial history. They speak of a time when these neighborhoods were bustling hubs of trade, filled with a diverse community of merchants and craftsmen. These signs were not meant to last forever, but they have endured, becoming accidental monuments to the everyday life of a city that is constantly changing, but never completely forgets. The Valens Aqueduct is not a ruin. It is not a monument you look at from a distance. It is a living part of the city's infrastructure. This 4th century Roman structure still plays a role in the daily life of Istanbul. A major modern thoroughfare, Ataturk Boulevard, passes directly through its massive stone arches. Every day thousands of cars, trucks and buses drive through a structure that was built 1,700 years ago. It is a constant casual intersection of the ancient and the modern. The Romans who built it could never have imagined the river of traffic that now flows beneath their masterpiece. The aqueduct is a powerful symbol of the city's continuity. It is a place where the deep past and the busy present meet and coexist, not in a museum, but in the middle of a traffic jam. It is history you can drive through. Topkapi Palace was the home of the Ottoman sultans for 400 years. It was a place of power, but also a place of secrets. The palace is riddled with hidden corridors and secret chambers. The Golden Road was a private passage that connected the Sultan's private quarters with the harem. It allowed him to move through the palace unseen. In the harem, there were screened windows and hidden viewing grills. These allowed the women of the court to observe official ceremonies and receptions without being seen themselves. They could be present, but invisible. These architectural features tell a story about the strict protocols and the complex social structure of the Ottoman court. They reveal a world of privacy, intrigue, and carefully controlled visibility. The palace was designed not just for living, but for watching and for hiding. It was a stage with many hidden passageways. The Kamlika Mosque is a modern megastructure, opened in 2019. It is the largest mosque in Turkey. While its design is contemporary, it is filled with historical references. It is a building in conversation with the city's past. Its main dome, for example, is intentionally designed to be slightly taller than the dome of Hagia Sophia. This is a symbolic gesture, a statement about the continuity of faith and power. The mosque has 6 minarets, a feature it shares with the Blue Mosque. The 6 minarets are a nod to the 6 articles of Islamic faith. The entire project is a conscious effort to create a new landmark for the 21st century, one that respects the architectural legacy of the city, while also asserting a new, modern identity. It is a monumental addition to the Istanbul skyline. a new voice in an old conversation. On the shores of the Golden Horn stands a church that looks unlike any other in Istanbul. The Church of St. Stephen of the Bulgars is made almost entirely of cast iron. It is a beautiful neo-Gothic structure that seems to have been transported from another place. And in a way, it was. The church was part of a 19th-century movement for Bulgarian cultural and religious independence from Greek influence. Its prefabricated pieces were manufactured in Vienna. The 500 tons of cast iron were then shipped down the Danube River and across the Black Sea. The pieces were then assembled on site in 1898. The choice of iron was practical. The ground here is soft, and a heavy stone church would have sunk. The iron church was a lighter, modern solution. It is a unique and beautiful piece of industrial age architecture, a church from a box. The ancient land walls of Theodosius are pierced by several gates. These were the formal entrances to the great city of Constantinople. Each gate had its own purpose and character. Some, like the magnificent Golden Gate, were reserved for imperial triumphs. The emperor and his victorious army would enter the city through its arches. Other gates were for everyday traffic, for merchants, farmers, and travelers. Many of these gates are still standing today. They are no longer part of a defensive system. They are now simply openings in a long line of ancient walls. They frame views of modern city life. Through a Roman arch you might see a city bus, or a group of children playing football. They are powerful reminders of the city's many layers. They are doorways to the past, standing open in the middle of the present. The Sekeci post office is not just a place to mail a letter. It is an architectural landmark. Built in the early 20th century, it is a magnificent example of the Turkish neoclassical style. This was a conscious effort by Ottoman architects to create a new national architecture. They wanted to move away from European styles and create something that was both modern and distinctly Turkish. The building blends motifs from classical Ottoman and Seljuk design. It has pointed arches, intricate tile work, and small domes. But it was built with modern techniques, and for a modern function. It is a confident and beautiful building, a statement of cultural identity at a time of great change for the empire. It is a reminder that even a post office can be a work of art, a symbol of a nation's aspirations, built to serve the people. The day in Istanbul often begins with a specific sound and a specific taste. It is the crunch of a korokolo dt, simit, a circular bread crusted with sesame seeds. This is the city's gentle alarm clock. All over the city, you will see the iconic red carts. They are piled high with fresh simit, delivered warm from the bakeries. The sound of vendors calling out their wares is a familiar part of the morning rhythm. Grabbing a simit on the way to work or school is a daily ritual for millions. It is a simple, inexpensive, and deeply satisfying breakfast. It is a taste that is woven into the fabric of the city's life. The simit is more than just bread. It is a symbol of a shared experience, a common starting point for the day for people from all walks of life. It is the city's most democratic and delicious tradition. For thousands of people in Istanbul, the daily commute is not on a road or a train. It is on the water. The Bosphorus ferries, or vapors, are a vital part of the public transit system. But they are also a beloved ritual. Stepping onto the ferry is a chance to escape the city's traffic and noise. It is a moment of peace in a busy day. For the price of a bus ticket, you get one of the most beautiful commutes in the world. You can sit on the open-air deck, feel the breeze, and watch the skyline drift by. You will see palaces, mosques, and modern skyscrapers. Seagulls often trail behind the boat, hoping for a piece of simit. The ferry is more than just transportation. It is a shared public space, a place to read, to think, or to simply watch the city. The soundscape of Istanbul is unique. It is punctuated 5 times a day by the ezan, the Islamic call to prayer. This is a constant reminder of the city's spiritual rhythm. From thousands of minarets across the city, the call rings out. It is not a single synchronized sound. Instead, the calls from different mosques overlap. They create a complex, layered chorus that washes over the rooftops. One call begins, and then another joins in, from a different direction, in a slightly different key. For a few minutes the air is filled with this haunting, beautiful sound. Then, it fades away, and the normal sounds of the city return. It is a public and pervasive part of the city's daily life. It is a sound that marks the passage of time, a thread that connects the present moment to a tradition that is centuries old. In Istanbul, tea or kay is more than a beverage. It is a constant. It is the fuel that runs the city. It is served in small, tulip-shaped glasses that you have to hold by the rim to avoid burning your fingers. It is the currency of hospitality. When you enter a shop, you will likely be offered a glass of tea. It is a gesture of welcome. Business deals are sealed over tea. Friendships are deepened over tea. It is consumed from morning until late at night, in homes, offices, and dedicated tea gardens. The sight of a waiter carrying a tray of tea glasses through a crowded market is a common one. Tea is a pause in the day, a moment to slow down, to talk, or to simply watch the world go by. It is a small, but essential ritual that binds the city together. As the night deepens, especially around the bustling area of Taksim Square, a specific craving arises. This is the time for an islak burger or wet burger. It is a favorite late-night ritual for many. The burger itself is simple. A beef patty on a soft white bun. But the magic is in the preparation. It is doused in a garlicky tomato sauce. Then, it is placed in a steam box. The burger steams in its own sauce, becoming incredibly soft, moist, and savory. It is a uniquely messy and delicious snack. You will see people gathered around the small shops, grabbing a quick, warm bite before heading home. It is the perfect food to end a night out. It is a simple, unpretentious, and deeply comforting taste of modern Istanbul's street food culture. It is a small, warm pleasure in the late hours. The Galata Bridge is a constant hive of activity. Cars, trams, and pedestrians are always moving across it. But one group of people on the bridge is almost always still. These are the fishermen. They are a permanent fixture of the cityscape. All day and often into the night, they line the railings of the bridge. They patiently cast their lines into the water below. They are a quiet, meditative counterpoint to the bustling city around them. They seem to be in their own world, focused on the subtle movements of their lines. Sometimes they catch small fish, which they sell or take home. Other times, they catch nothing at all, but they are always there. Their patient silhouettes against the sky are as much a part of the bridge's identity as the structure itself. They are the quiet guardians of the waterfront. The stray cats of Istanbul are not just strays. They are residents. They are a beloved and integral part of the community. On nearly every street, you will see evidence of this special relationship. There are small bowls of food and water left on sidewalks. There are little handmade shelters, built to protect the cats from the rain and cold. People in the neighborhood know the cats. They have names. They are petted, fed, and cared for. This is not an organized charity. It is a collective, unspoken agreement. The cats are a community responsibility. In return, they provide a sense of life and character to the streets. They are a furry, purring presence that softens the edges of the big city. They are a reminder of the quiet compassion that flows through the city's daily life. They are everyone's and no one's pets. In the evening, a cherished tradition unfolds in restaurants across the city. It is the slow, convivial meal of raki balik. This translates to raki and fish, but it is so much more than that. It is a meal built around conversation and friendship. The drink is raki, an anise-flavored spirit that turns cloudy white when mixed with water. The food begins with a long procession of meze. These are small plates of cold and hot appetizers, cheeses, salads, dips, and seafood. This can go on for hours. The main course, usually a fresh grilled fish, arrives much later. The point of the meal is not just to eat. It is to talk, to laugh, and to share. It is a slow, deliberate ritual that strengthens social bonds. It is an evening dedicated to the simple pleasures of good food, good drink, and good company. On a cold winter evening, a distinctive call can sometimes be heard in the quiet residential streets. It is the sound of the causer, seller. This is a tradition that feels like it belongs to another time. The seller walks through the neighborhood, carrying a large copper jug on his shoulder. He calls out "Buzar" in a long melodic cry. He ladles out the thick, slightly fermented millet drink into glasses. It has a unique tangy and sweet taste. It is served with a sprinkle of cinnamon and roasted chickpeas. It is a comforting, warming drink, perfect for a winter night. The Bozar seller is a rare sight these days, but the tradition survives. Hearing his call is a nostalgic link to the Istanbul of the past. It is a taste of history, served one glass at a time, on a quiet, cold street. The soundtrack to Istanbul's tea gardens and coffeehouses is the sharp click-clack of backgammon pieces. The game, known as tavla, is a national pastime. It is played everywhere, by people of all ages. You will see men sitting on small stools outside shops, intensely focused on a game. You will see friends in cafes, playing for hours over countless glasses of tea. The game is a perfect blend of skill and luck. The roll of the dice can change everything, but a skilled player will usually win in the long run. It is a game that encourages conversation and friendly competition. The rhythmic sound of the dice being thrown and the pieces being moved is a constant, soothing background noise in the city's social spaces. It is the sound of time being passed pleasantly in the company of friends. It is a game woven into the city's social fabric. Once a week, a quiet residential street is transformed. It becomes a bazaar, a weekly open-air market. This is a vibrant and essential ritual of neighborhood life. Early in the morning, vendors set up their stalls. They create colorful pyramids of fresh fruits and vegetables. They lay out vast selections of cheeses, olives, nuts, and spices. There are also stalls selling household goods, clothes, and toys. This is where locals do their weekly shopping. It is a chaotic, bustling, and sensory experience. The air is filled with the calls of vendors and the smell of fresh produce. It is a place to meet neighbors and catch up on local gossip. Then, as evening approaches, it all disappears. The stalls are packed away, the street is cleaned, and it returns to being a quiet residential street, until the next week's bazaar. Finishing a cup of thick, strong Turkish coffee is only half the experience. The coffee leaves a thick sediment of grounds at the bottom of the small cup. This is where the second part of the ritual begins. The cup is turned upside down on its saucer and left to cool. As it cools, the grounds slide down the sides of the cup, creating intricate patterns. Once it is cool, the cup is turned over. A friend or a professional fortune teller will then read the patterns. They will find shapes and symbols in the coffee grounds that are said to reveal one's fortune. It is a playful and intimate ritual. It is a way to turn the end of a coffee break into a moment of connection and conversation. It is a small piece of everyday magic, a story waiting to be discovered at the bottom of a cup. During the holy month of Ramadan, the rhythm of the city changes. Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset. The day is quiet and contemplative. As sunset approaches, a sense of anticipation builds. The moment to break the fast, known as iftar, is traditionally announced by the firing of a cannon. The loud boom echoes across the city. It is a signal that everyone has been waiting for. In that instant, the city comes alive. Families and friends gather to share a meal. In homes, in restaurants, and in large public tents set up for the occasion, the fast is broken. The cannon shot is a powerful, unifying sound. It is a signal that connects every fasting person in the city in a single, shared moment of release and community. It is the starting gun for a nightly celebration of food and togetherness. The official scent of Istanbul's streets, especially in the cooler months, is a mixture of roasted chestnuts and grilled corn. On almost every busy corner, you will find a small mobile cart. A vendor will be tending to a small fire. On one side, chestnuts or kestele are roasting, their shells splitting open in the heat. On the other side, ears of corn, or misir, are being grilled until they are slightly charred. The smell is warm, smoky, and deeply comforting. It is a simple, ever-present snack. You can buy a small paper bag of hot chestnuts to warm your hands and your stomach. It is a small, affordable pleasure that is part of the city's sensory landscape. It is a smell that for many people simply means they are home. It is the humble perfume of the Istanbul street. A meyhane is more than just a tavern. It is a cultural institution. It is a place where evenings are dedicated to a specific kind of pleasure. The evening is built around three things: food, music and conversation. The food is a long series of meals, small plates that are meant to be shared. The drink is almost always raki. And the music is often fasil, a style of classical Ottoman music played by a small group of musicians who move from table to table. But the most important ingredient is conversation. A night at a meyhane is a long, slow affair. It is about taking time with friends, talking, laughing, and solving the world's problems. It is a cherished ritual, a place where the fast-paced city slows down, and the art of conversation is celebrated late into the night. In Istanbul, breakfast can be a simple affair. But on the weekends it can also be an event. The van kahvaltısı, or van-style breakfast, is a lavish and beloved ritual. It is named after the city of Van in eastern Turkey, which is famous for its breakfast culture. This is not a meal you eat quickly. It is a feast that is meant to be savored over several hours with friends and family. The table is completely covered with dozens of small plates. There are different kinds of cheeses, olives and breads. There are jams, honeys and creams. There are eggs cooked in various ways, fresh vegetables and pastries. It is a celebration of abundance and variety. It is a testament to the Turkish love of a long, leisurely meal. It is a breakfast that is worth waking up for, and then spending the rest of the morning enjoying. As the sun begins to set, a gentle Mediterranean tradition comes alive in Istanbul's coastal neighborhoods. In places like Moda on the Asian side or Bebek on the European side, the evening volta begins. This is a leisurely stroll along the waterfront promenade. Residents emerge from their homes to take the air. They walk, they chat, they greet their neighbors. It is a time to see and be seen. It is a simple, unorganized social ritual. People walk their dogs, couples hold hands, and families enjoy the cool evening breeze. The purpose of the volta is not to get anywhere in particular. It is simply to be outside, to be part of the community, and to enjoy the beautiful view of the sea. It is a quiet, graceful rhythm that marks the transition from the workday to the evening. It is the city taking a collective deep breath. Every April, the city of Istanbul erupts in a riot of color. This is the annual Tulip Festival. For a few weeks, the tulip, a flower with deep roots in Ottoman history, reclaims its place as the star of the city. Millions of tulip bulbs are planted in every park, public square and roadside median. The city is transformed into a massive, temporary garden. In parks like Imorgan, intricate carpets of tulips are created, with dazzling patterns and colors. It is a city-wide celebration of the arrival of spring. It is also a nod to the city's own history, a revival of the tulip era's obsession with this beautiful flower. For a short time, the city's landscape is dominated by this one, perfect bloom. It is a fleeting but spectacular display, a gift of color to the city's residents and visitors. The Grand Bazaar has its own internal rhythm, a daily cycle of energy that has been repeating for centuries. The day begins with a morning rush. Shopkeepers arrive, unlock their stalls, and prepare for the day. The air is filled with the sound of metal shutters rolling up. Then comes the midday peak. The narrow, covered streets become crowded, with a chaotic mix of tourists and locals. The bazaar is a hive of activity, a sensory overload of sights, sounds and smells. As the afternoon wears on, the pace begins to slow. The last sales are made. The bargaining becomes a little less intense. Finally, in the evening, a sense of calm descends. The shopkeepers begin to pack up. The great doors of the bazaar are prepared for closing. The river of commerce slows to a trickle, and the bazaar prepares to rest for the night. A winter visit to Istanbul is incomplete without trying salep. This is a warm, creamy beverage that is a traditional favorite during the cold months. It is made from the flower of wild orchid tubers. The flour is mixed with hot milk and sugar, creating a thick, comforting drink. It is served hot, in a mug, and usually dusted with cinnamon. It has a unique, slightly floral flavor, and a wonderfully smooth texture. You can find it in cafes and from street vendors, who keep it warm in large silver urns. Holding a hot mug of salep on a cold day is a simple and profound pleasure. It is a taste of old Istanbul, a drink that has been warming the city's residents for centuries. It is a liquid hug, a perfect antidote to the winter chill. It is a seasonal ritual to look forward to. On the streets of Istanbul, you will see men sitting on small stools with ornate, brass-covered boxes. These are the shoe shiners, or boyasis. They offer more than just a service. The ritual of getting your shoes shined is a moment to pause in a busy day. You step up onto the small platform. You sit on a stool and watch the city go by. The boyachi works with practiced skill. He applies the polish, brushes the shoes with vigor, and then finishes with a flourish of a cloth. The rhythmic sound of the brush is part of the experience. For a few minutes you are out of the flow of traffic. You are an observer. It is a small, affordable luxury. It is a moment of quiet dignity and care, a tradition that elevates a simple task into a small performance. It is a piece of old-world service in a fast-moving city. Long before the city wakes up, a vital rhythm is already playing out at the Gürpınar wholesale fish market. In the pre-dawn hours, the market is a frenzy of activity. Fishing boats arrive, unloading their nightly catch. The concrete floor is wet and slick. Workers in rubber boots move quickly, sorting and icing crates of glistening fish. Restaurateurs and fishmongers from all over the city are here. They inspect the catch and haggle over prices. The air is cold and smells of the sea. This is the unseen heart of the city's culinary life. The fish that will be served in the city's finest restaurants and sold in its neighborhood markets passes through here. It is a loud, chaotic and essential part of the city's food chain. By the time the sun rises, The market is already winding down, its work done for another day. The Sima ceremony of the whirling dervishes is one of the most iconic images of Turkey. But it is important to understand that this is not a performance. It is a spiritual practice. The dervishes are members of the Mevlevi order, a Sufi tradition, founded by the poet Rumi. The slow, hypnotic turning is a form of active meditation. It is a ritual of remembrance and connection to the divine. The dervish's white skirt represents a shroud. The tall hat represents a tombstone. The turning itself is a symbolic act of abandoning the ego and revolving in harmony with the universe. It is a deeply personal and spiritual journey, which the public is allowed to witness. It is a beautiful and moving ritual that has been practiced for centuries. It is a search for stillness in motion, a quiet prayer in the form of a dance. The sound of a car horn in Istanbul is not just noise. It is a complex language. It is a constant informal communication system that every driver understands. A short, quick toot can mean many things. It can be a thank you for letting someone into traffic. It can be a gentle hello to a friend on the street. A long, sustained blast is less ambiguous. It usually means, get out of the way, or expresses frustration. Then there is the rhythmic honking. A series of short, playful toots is often the sound of a wedding convoy, celebrating a happy occasion. Learning to interpret this horn language is part of learning to navigate the city. It is a raw, unfiltered expression of the city's energy. It is a soundtrack of impatience, celebration, and communication, all played on a single versatile instrument, the car horn. On the eve of May 6th, a special tradition takes place. This is Hidireles, a spring festival that celebrates the meeting of two prophets. It is a time of hope and renewal. One of the most charming traditions of Hidireles is the making of wishes. People write down their wishes on small pieces of paper. They might wish for a new home, for good health, or for love. Sometimes, instead of writing, they draw a picture of their wish. Then, they take these small papers and tie them to the branches of a wishing tree. This is often a rose bush, as roses are a symbol of the festival. They believe that as the morning dew falls, their wishes will be carried up to heaven. The next day, the rose bushes in the neighborhood are decorated with these small, fluttering prayers, a beautiful and hopeful expression of the community's dreams. In the Fatih district there is a small, humble mosque with a beautiful story. It is called the Sanki Yedin Kami, which translates to the "as if I have eaten" mosque. The story goes that a pious man named Kachichi Haradin lived in the neighborhood. He wanted to build a mosque, but he was not wealthy. So he came up with a plan. Every time he felt a craving for a treat, like a piece of fruit or a sweet pastry, he would resist. He would put the money he would have spent into a box. And he would say to himself, "Cheliki yidim or chechem pukul," it is as if I have eaten. Over many years, he saved enough money to build this small mosque for his community. It is a testament to the power of small sacrifices and patient devotion. It is a building made of deferred gratification. In the Kadikoy neighborhood, there was a beloved street cat named Tombili. She was famous for her unique and nonchalant way of lounging. She would lean back against a sidewalk step, one paw resting casually, looking like a relaxed old man watching the world go by. A photo of her in this pose went viral, and she became an internet celebrity. After Tombili passed away, the community missed her presence. They felt that her special spot should not be empty. A petition was started. The community successfully lobbied the municipality to commission a small bronze statue in her honor. The statue was installed in her exact iconic pose, on the very step where she used to lounge. It is a small, whimsical, and deeply touching tribute to a cat who brought a little bit of joy and character to her neighborhood. It is a permanent monument to a fleeting moment. The Prince's Islands are a popular and beautiful getaway from the city. A short ferry ride takes you to a world of quiet, car-free streets and lovely wooden mansions. But the islands have a much darker history. Their name comes from their original function. In the Byzantine era, these beautiful islands were a place of exile. Disgraced princes, empresses, and other political rivals were sent here. It was a beautiful prison. They were far enough from the capital to be out of political life, but close enough to be watched. The natural beauty of the islands was a cruel backdrop to a life of isolation and forgotten power. When you walk the quiet paths today, it is strange to think of this history. The silence that now feels so peaceful was once the sound of exile. The islands were a gilded cage, a place of lonely royal banishment. The stray dogs of Istanbul are not just strays. They are official residents with a special status. You'll notice that many of them have a distinctive plastic tag on their ear. This tag is a sign that the dog is part of a city-wide program. When the municipality catches a stray dog, it does not simply remove it. The dog is taken to a facility where it is neutered and vaccinated against diseases like rabies. Then, it is given the ear tag and released back into the neighborhood where it was found. The tag signals to the community that the dog is healthy and cared for. It is a pragmatic and compassionate solution to the problem of stray animals. It allows the dogs to continue their lives as free-roaming members of the urban landscape, recognized and protected by the city itself. They are a managed, public part of the community. Inside the cool, dark expanse of the basilica system, one column stands out from the rest. It is known as the Weeping Column. Unlike the other columns, this one is perpetually damp. Water seems to constantly seep from its surface, running down its sides. The column is carved with patterns that look like peacock eyes or teardrops. There is a legend that the column cries for the hundreds of slaves who died during the construction of the cistern. It is said to be a permanent memorial to their suffering. The scientific explanation is probably that it is simply more porous than the other columns. But the legend is more powerful. It gives a voice to the forgotten people who built this magnificent structure. It is a small, sad detail in a vast and impressive space, a single column that seems to remember the human cost of its creation. In the Topkapi Palace treasury, there is a diamond of incredible size and beauty. It is the spoonmaker's diamond, an 86-carat pear-shaped gem that dazzles all who see it. A diamond this magnificent should have a grand and noble history. Instead, it has a ridiculous origin story. The legend claims that the diamond was found in a garbage heap by a poor fisherman. Not knowing what it was, he thought it was just a pretty piece of glass. He took it to a jeweler, who saw its true value. The jeweler tricked the fisherman, telling him it was worthless. He acquired the massive diamond for the price of just 3 wooden spoons. The story is almost certainly not true, but it is the official legend. The name, Spoonmaker's Diamond, has stuck, a humble and absurd title for one of the most spectacular jewels in the world. The Nobel laureate Orhan Pamuk wrote a novel called The Museum of Innocence. It is a story of love and obsession, set in Istanbul. The narrator of the book collects objects that remind him of his beloved. After the novel was published, Pamuk did something extraordinary. He created a real Museum of Innocence in a house in the Kukukuma neighborhood. He spent years collecting thousands of everyday objects from Istanbul's past. There are display cases filled with ticket stubs, hair clips, salt shakers, and old photographs. Each display corresponds to a chapter in the book. It is a physical manifestation of the novel. And in a final brilliant twist, the ticket for entry to the museum is printed on a page in the back of the book itself. The novel is the ticket to the museum, and the museum is the physical form of the novel. In the 17th century, a man named Hezafen Ahmed Çelebi decided he was going to fly. According to the account of the historian Evliya Çelebi, Hezafen studied the principles of flight. He constructed a set of wings, supposedly made with eagle feathers. Then, on a windy day, he climbed to the top of the Galata Tower. In front of a crowd that included the Sultan himself, he leaped from the top of the tower. And he flew. The story says that he glided across the Bosphorus, a journey of over 3 kilometers. He landed safely in the district of Üsküdar, on the Asian side. He thus became the first human to achieve intercontinental flight. The Sultan was impressed, but also fearful of a man so clever. Hezarfen was rewarded with gold, but then exiled. It is a legendary story of human ingenuity and daring, a footnote in the long history of flight. In the spring, the shores of the Bosphorus are decorated with vibrant purple flowers. They bloom on the branches of the Judas tree. The tree is beautiful, but its name carries a dark story. Local legend in Istanbul says that the trees are connected to Judas Iscariot, the disciple who betrayed Jesus. The story goes that after his betrayal, Judas hanged himself from one of these trees. Ever since that day, the trees have been so filled with shame that they blush a deep purple every spring. It is a piece of Christian folklore that has become attached to a native tree of the region. The scientific name for the tree is Cercis siliquastrum. But the local legend is more poetic. It gives a moral dimension to the simple, beautiful act of a tree bursting into bloom. The flowers are a sign of spring, but also a reminder of an ancient story of betrayal and shame. In the middle of a busy, multi-lane road in Üsküdar, there is a small, quiet island of green. On this island is a single, well-kept grave. This is the tomb of a Sufi saint named Karaka Ahmet. The grave was there long before the road. When the city planners decided to build the highway, the grave was in the way. The story goes that when the construction workers and their bulldozers tried to move the tomb, they failed. The machines would break down. The workers would have strange accidents. After several failed attempts, they gave up. They decided it was easier to build the road around the tomb. And so, today, thousands of cars rush past this small, peaceful spot every day. The traffic flows on either side of the grave, a modern river parting for an ancient stone. It is a powerful symbol of the past's ability to resist the present. On the Asian side of Istanbul, nestled in a forest, is a neighborhood that feels like a different country. This is Polonezkoy, which means Polish village. It was founded in 1842 by Polish exiles. They were soldiers who had fought in an uprising against Russia, and had fled to the Ottoman Empire. The Sultan gave them this piece of land, to build a new home. For over a century, this small village maintained its Polish language and traditions. It was a tiny piece of Poland in the middle of an Ottoman forest. The village has a church, instead of a mosque. The architecture looks more like Eastern Europe than Istanbul. Today, it is a popular spot for weekend getaways, known for its restaurants and hotels. But it remains a curious and charming anomaly, a historical footnote that became a living community, a Polish village in the heart of Turkey. The neighborhood of Balat is famous for its colorful houses. The steep, narrow streets are lined with buildings painted in bright shades of red, blue and yellow. It is one of the most photographed and Instagram-famous spots in Istanbul. But this vibrant color scheme is not an ancient tradition. In fact, it is very recent. Until the 2010s, the houses in Balat were like many in the older parts of the city, beautiful, but often crumbling and drab. The neighborhood was part of a UNESCO-backed urban renewal project. The project helped fund the restoration and painting of the historic wooden houses. This modern effort to revitalize the neighborhood is what created the iconic look we see today. The colors are not a reflection of a long-lost past. They are a product of a 21st century decision, a successful and beautiful piece of modern urban planning. The Grand Mosque that stands by the Spice Bazaar is officially called the Valid Sultan Mosque, but it is more commonly known as the New Mosque or Yeni Cami. This name is a bit of an irony, because the mosque took over 60 years to build. Its construction was started in 1597 by Safiye Sultan, the powerful wife of one sultan and mother of another. But after her son's death, she lost her power, and construction stopped. The half-finished mosque was abandoned on the swampy ground for decades. It was finally completed in 1663 by another powerful queen mother, Turhan Sultan. The long and difficult construction is a testament to the immense power and influence of the women of the Sultan's harem. They were not just residents of the palace. They were major political players and patrons of architecture, capable of starting and finishing monumental projects. Football is a passion in Istanbul, and the city is home to one of the most intense rivalries in the world. It is the intercontinental derby between Fenerbahce and Galatasaray. This is more than just a game. It is a clash of identities and geographies. The Fenerbahce club is from the Asian side of the city. The Galatasaray club is from the European side. The rivalry literally pits two continents against each other. The atmosphere at these matches is legendary for its noise, color, and passion. The fans' loyalty is absolute. The rivalry has a long and complex history, with social and class undertones. But at its heart, it is a simple and powerful story of two teams, from two different sides of the same city, fighting for bragging rights. It is a sporting event that perfectly captures the city's unique position, straddling two worlds. After the conquest of 1453, nearly every church in Constantinople was eventually converted into a mosque. But there is one remarkable exception. The Church of St. Mary of the Mongols, in the Ferry district, has been a Greek Orthodox church continuously since the Byzantine era. It is the only one. The reason for this unique status is a special decree from Mehmed the Conqueror himself. The church was under the patronage of a Byzantine noblewoman who had family ties to the Mongol rulers. As a gesture of respect to his powerful neighbors, or perhaps for other political reasons, Mehmed granted the church a special exemption. A copy of his decree is still kept at the church. It is a small, red brick building, hidden behind high walls. It does not look like much from the outside, but it is a unique and precious link to the city's pre-Ottoman past. The name of the magnificent Dolmabahce Palace is surprisingly humble. It literally means, filled-in garden. The name tells the story of the land on which the palace was built. Before the palace existed, this spot on the Bosphorus was a small bay. In the 18th century, this bay was filled in with earth and stone. The goal was to create a new imperial garden for the sultans, a place for pleasure and relaxation. For a time, it was just that. A beautiful garden on reclaimed land. Then, in the mid-19th century, Sultan Abdulmajid I decided to build his new, grand palace on this very spot. The extravagant palace, a symbol of Ottoman modernity, was thus built on a foundation of a filled-in bay. The name is a quiet reminder of the history of the land itself, a story of how the shoreline was reshaped to suit the desires of the empire. Hagia Sophia has been a home to emperors and sultans. It is also the final resting place for a very special cat. Her name was Glee. She was a beautiful, cross-eyed cat who was born in Hagia Sophia and lived there for 16 years. She became a beloved fixture of the monument. She was friendly to visitors and was often photographed. She even met with visiting dignitaries, including President Barack Obama. She became an internet celebrity, a furry ambassador for this ancient building. When she passed away in 2020, there was an outpouring of grief. It was decided that she should be buried in the place she had always called home. Inside Hagia Sophia, there is a small designated burial spot for her. It is a touching tribute to a small creature who captured the hearts of millions, a final, quiet honor for the cat of Hagia Sophia. The minarets of Istanbul's mosques are a defining feature of the skyline. Most of them follow a traditional design, a tall, slender tower, with a balcony and a conical top. But there is one mosque with a minaret that breaks the mold. The Bermali Minare Mosque, or Spiral Minaret Mosque, has a minaret with its staircase on the outside. A single spiral staircase winds its way up the outside of the brick tower. It is a strange and beautiful design. It is a rare architectural outlier in a city of traditional minarets. The design is said to be inspired by the Great Mosque of Samarra in Iraq, which has a famous spiral minaret. It is a small, but delightful surprise. It is a reminder that even within a strong architectural tradition, there is always room for a little bit of creative eccentricity. It is a minaret that takes the scenic route. The Pera Palace Hotel has always been associated with the Orient Express, and its most famous chronicler, Agatha Christie. It is believed that she wrote part of her famous novel, Murder on the Orient Express, while staying at the hotel. The hotel celebrates this connection. They have maintained room 411 as a museum dedicated to the author. The room is filled with memorabilia, books, and a vintage typewriter. But the story has a mysterious twist. After Christie's death, a psychic was brought to the hotel. She claimed that a key to a secret diary was hidden in the room. A search was conducted, and a key was supposedly found under the floorboards. The diary itself was never found. It is a perfect, Christie-esque mystery. It adds another layer of intrigue to the hotel's already glamorous and romantic history. The story is a puzzle without a solution. In the Kadıköy district there is a building that seems to defy logic. It is a ridiculously narrow apartment block, squeezed between two much larger buildings. From the right angle it looks almost two-dimensional, like a movie set facade. This is a spite building. The legend says that it was built by a landowner after a bitter dispute. He and his neighbor owned adjacent plots of land with a beautiful sea view. The neighbor refused to sell his small piece of land to the landowner. So the landowner decided to take his revenge. He built this impossibly thin building on his own plot, for the sole purpose of completely blocking his neighbor's sea view. It is a monument to human pettiness, a permanent architectural expression of a feud. It is a strange and funny reminder that sometimes the shape of a city is determined not by grand plans, but by small, personal arguments. The serpent column in the Hippodrome is one of the oldest objects in the city. It is over 2,500 years old. It was brought to Constantinople from the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. It was made to commemorate a Greek victory over the Persians. Originally, the bronze column was topped with 3 serpent heads. For centuries, the column stood complete. Then, at some point in the Ottoman era, the heads disappeared. Their fate is a mystery. One story says a drunken diplomat knocked them off. Another says they were simply removed. For a long time they were thought to be lost forever. But in the 19th century, one of the heads was found during an excavation. It is now on display in the Istanbul Archaeology Museum. The column in the square remains headless, a strange and broken monument. Its missing pieces a small, unsolved puzzle. The word turquoise evokes a vibrant, blue-green color. The word itself is a clue to the stone's journey to the west. It comes from the French phrase pierre turquoise, which means Turkish stone. This is because the beautiful mineral was first introduced to Europe by Venetian traders. These traders purchased the stone in the bustling markets of Istanbul. The stone itself was not mined in Turkey. It came from mines in Persia and Central Asia. But Istanbul was the great trading hub, where East met West. It was the place where these exotic goods entered the European market. So for Europeans, the stone was forever associated with the place where they bought it. The name is a small piece of linguistic history. It is a reminder of Istanbul's long-standing role as a bridge between worlds, a place where the treasures of the East were traded and renamed. The first recorded check in financial history was not a piece of paper. It was a poem. In the 9th century, a poet in Constantinople named Al-As'ad ibn al-Furat needed some money. He did not go to his banker in person. Instead, he wrote a verse to his banker, requesting the funds. The poem was witty and elegant. The banker was so charmed by this creative withdrawal slip that he honored it. He gave the money to the person who delivered the poem. This small, delightful story is a reminder that even in the world of finance, there can be room for art and charm. It is a strange and wonderful thought. The complex system of global finance, with its digital transfers and credit cards, has a distant ancestor. And that ancestor is a short poem, written in a long-lost city, a creative solution to a very common problem. The Grand Bazaar can feel like a chaotic and confusing labyrinth, but there is a hidden order to the chaos. The bazaar is organized by trade. This is a holdover from the guild system of Ottoman times. There is a street for gold merchants, where every shop glitters with jewelry. There is a street for leather goods, filled with the rich smell of hides. There is a street for carpet sellers, with colorful rugs hanging from every surface. This system makes the vast market slightly more navigable. If you know what you are looking for, you can go to the right area. It also creates a sense of community and competition among the merchants. The organization is not as strict as it once was, but the old structure is still there. It is a quiet, underlying logic that brings a little bit of order to the wonderful chaos of the bazaar. Scattered around the modern city of Istanbul, sometimes in the most unlikely places, you can find tall, elegant marble pillars. These are Nisan Tasi, or target stones. They are strange and beautiful monuments to a very specific skill, archery. In the Ottoman era, archery was a highly valued military and sporting skill. The sultans themselves were often expert archers. When a sultan, or a famous archer, made a record-breaking long-distance shot, a stone pillar would be erected to mark the spot where the arrow landed. The pillars are inscribed with details of the shot, the name of the archer, the date, and the distance. Today these pillars stand on sidewalk corners, in parks, and in the middle of residential neighborhoods. They are elegant, mysterious reminders of a time when the city's heroes were not footballers, but archers, and their athletic prowess was recorded in stone. Our walk through Istanbul is coming to an end. Wherever you've drifted to, you don't need to come back. There's nothing more to listen for tonight. Sleep well.